John Killings, R-Truth, is no longer with the WWE, according to his tweet yesterday. Now, was it a release? Is his contract about to expire? Like Carlito made the statement yesterday on social media as well that his contract is up in 2 weeks and they are not re-signing him. It might be a case of that as well. We don't know the particulars, but I know, Mark, you had an idea that you wanted to expand on here.
Okay, I think that every match that's on the show, they should have somebody do something that pays tribute to R-Truth. And there should be at least 3 people interviewed live in the arena, retired vets, saying, hey man, it's gonna be different without R-Truth, and pay homage to him. Like, that's how special he has been to the WWE programming over the last 15 years and 20 years for that matter. And I just feel like, man, if they call me and say, hey man, can you do a video saying how you feel about R-Truth, I would do it in a heartbeat, drop everything I'm doing. I got family stuff to do, but I would call my wife and say, hey, let me take some minute to do this video for Truth. I would put everything down for him. And I think that everybody that I know that knows him would do the same thing. Bully, wouldn't you drop what you got to do to go and pay homage and respect to somebody that's done so much for our industry?
I would definitely do something like that if the WWE asks. But guys, I got to tell you, there ain't no way in hell this is happening. You're going to remind your entire fan base of how loved this guy was and give him the send-off of all send-offs. We gave Daniel Bryan a send-off because we didn't think he was going to ever wrestle again. But we're going to give R-Truth this big send-off, rah, 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 sis, boom, bah, and remind the WWE Universe of how loved he was. The Office is going to be despised for doing it. The WWE is not going to make, I don't think they're going to make mention of this.
Why would we do it when somebody passed away when we can do it when they can smell their flowers while they're alive?
Listen, I get it, but it's not like Truth had an injury in which his career is coming to an end, or R-Truth went to Hunter and go, you know what, man, I don't have it anymore. I'm out. In 2 weeks, I'm out, where they can go, you know what, Truth, no problem. We understand. We'd like to send you off the proper way. It seems like by Truth's tweet, it said that he was released. The WWE has decided to part ways with R-Truth, whether it's now, as of right this very second, or in a couple of weeks or a month, whenever his contract is up. I don't think they're gonna, scream at the top of their lungs, hey, we loved you. You were great. Thanks for coming. Because then we're all going to sit back and go, why are we getting rid of a guy that's so loved?
We still love him.
But doesn't that make sense, Dave?
Yeah, it does. You're just reminding your audience that you're firing somebody in essence. Like that's how the fans look at it. And this is the biggest thing. And this is why, like Mark and Bully, you guys know him as a man and as a coworker. But us fans following his career, especially the last 18 years. But even before that with TNA, and then he was with the WWE before that. He is if I'm the WWE, that's the guy that I want to make sure that I sign, that's with my company. If I'm TKO and I said, all right, Triple H or whoever, give me a list of 10 names that we have to have, that we have to make sure that we keep. R-Truth is on that list because he could do anything you ask him to do.
For the culture of it, we got to ask ourselves one serious question. And that is, what's going to happen with little Jimmy?
Mark, you were around for this. I wasn't. But Vince McMahon loved R-Truth, right?
Oh, my God. Over a lot of people.
Mark, tell me if I'm wrong. Vince McMahon would have never gotten rid of R-Truth.
Not in a million years.
Kept him around, did whatever it took to keep him around.
Roll
And
his ass out there in a wheelchair if you have to. I need him to say what's up.
Yep. Dave, there's stories of Vince taking care of people from back in the day. People that were loyal to Vince's dad. Vince, kept that loyalty going, make sure they were taken care of. And I know that there were certain talents that Vince McMahon liked, loved, and always wanted to make sure they were taken care of. And Truth was one of them.
Here's the problem,
new regimes, sometimes that gets lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, but Mark, are we to think that Truth got released without Hunter's final yes or no? I mean, that's gotta go past his desk.
That's where the word release becomes a problem to me. And not being able to come to contractual agreement is different than giving somebody an outright release. Because when you say you got released, it sounds like you did something or something happened. And Truth is just not that guy. I mean, they were talking about Truth on Dan Patrick.
But guys, you know the one thing, and I've heard this word a few times just in these last 10 minutes alone, and that is loyalty. Major corporations don't have loyalty in people anymore. I mean, look around. I mean, there's a lot of people who are probably listening to this show right now that after being with the company 10, 15, 20 years, been let go. Like, loyalty doesn't mean shit anymore.
That's 1,000% true.
Yes. So
but there's still a little bit of the old carny way, the old guard, the old family business. There's still a little bit of that left in the WWE.
But it's not the WWE anymore, Bully. It's TKO. It's
okay.
TKO.
I guess I'm putting it all on Hunter then.
Maybe Triple H doesn't have, maybe in his position, his word when it comes to something like this. When it comes to dollars, he may make a recommendation. Doesn't mean that they have to listen to it.
That's true.
He could have said, you can't let this guy go. And they might have been like, he's 53. He's only had a handful of matches. Like,
you can't justify paying him.
Yes.
Listen, you're in charge of creative, Hunter, but you're not in charge of who stays and who goes.
I don't think I've ever seen a backlash like that, what we've seen from the WWE universe. The hashtag was trending #1 last night. Bring back R-Truth. That was trending #1 last night. Now, is that something that wakes up people where they're like, all right, maybe we made a mistake and now we should re-sign R-Truth? I don't know. Are we going to get acknowledgement about R-Truth tonight on Monday Night Raw? Mark, you made a good case, but Bully made a good case too. Like, Mark, you're right. Like, you talk about somebody that deserves his flowers, it's R-Truth. But Bully made the remark, and I understand it. Is the WWE going to remind their fans that the reason we're saying thank you, R-Truth, is because we're letting him go? We made the decision to let this man go.
You're fired. Oh, by the way, we're giving you a tribute show.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, you're fired.
You with your watch.
Yeah, you're fired. But we're having a going away party for, like, if somebody told me to, hit the skids, like, am I going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to come to your going away party? Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
Dave, you've been with Sirius for a long time.
I wouldn't do that.
You worked with Sirius for a long time. You were with the NFL channel, obviously with Busted Open. I'm sure you've come across one or two people who have been let go that were held in high esteem or well-liked by coworkers or a fan base, right?
Yes.
Did they get a tribute show on the way out?
No! They said they were like, yeah, here's a box. Put your stuff in the box. And you know what?
What's in the box?
Our thank you is we're going to walk you out of the building. That's our thank you. Corporations, big corporations, don't give a shit. I'm sure there are decision makers above a Triple H. Again, this is just all speculation. Where they're like, this guy's 53. He's only had a handful of matches. You know, if we extend his contract, it's going to cost this amount of dollars. Why would we do that? This man's at the end of his... But you don't see the big picture. Look what this guy has given us. What R-Truth could continue to give us. Guys, I mean, safe to say the greatest R-Truth moments had nothing to do with a match? Had nothing to do with a championship title?
Mark, if I gotta ask this question. Mark, assuming you're a guy like R-Truth, who is used sporadically, would that be a good word to describe how often Truth has been used?
Yeah.
Sporadically. When they do use him, he's awesome at everything he does. Now, let's say he was making X amount of dollars being used sporadically. Would they go to him and say, listen, you're making this much money and you've been making this much money for a long time and we hardly use you. We don't want to let you go. Would you take less money? Is that something you would consider if you were only being used?
I did it. That's a thing. I was still working a full schedule when I was asked to take a damn near 50%, like 40% pay cut. And the way that it was worded to me, look, we're going to do other things that you're going to be able to get that money back. That's not going to come across through wrestling. We're gonna give you an opportunity to work your way into your next deal, to make that money up. I never got to make that money up. I took the pay cut.
And it's funny because as I'm asking,
because I didn't want to go nowhere else. That you talk about loyalty. Like I could have went. Man, I got offered a hell of a lot of money to go to WCW back in the day when the war was going on, and I said no.
What I was just about to say is, as I was asking you the question, and you're telling your story, I'm remembering back to that time in 2005. The reason why me and Devon left is because Vince McMahon said to our face, I have oversaturated you for 5.5 years. You've been on TV. I have to start using you more judiciously and treat you like a special attraction team. So can you please take a little bit of less money? And that's when me and Devon were like, no. Because so that exact thing happened to me too. And I kind of just realized it while you were telling your story.
Bully, while we're doing this right here, I just had a prominent wrestler, not gonna mention his name, just text me and say, bro, I took a 60+% pay cut. They will ask you to do it, but we're gonna make it, we're gonna put you to work over here and we're gonna travel you here and we want you to go and do this, but out of the framework of this. Truth might have just said, no, I don't want to do that.
But I will say this about R-Truth. And you're right, Bully. Sporadically, I think is a good description of how they used R-Truth. But it's so curious that you look at the last 2 weeks of what R-Truth has been able to do. Actually, this year has been a really big year for R-Truth. The work that he did with the Judgment Day and helping the Judgment Day get to where they are. But I don't think that Cody gets the reaction that Cody got at Saturday night's main event if it's not for R-Truth. I don't know if John Cena gets booed the way John Cena got booed at the end of that show if it wasn't for R-Truth. R-Truth is so over with the WWE universe that by John Cena beating R-Truth the way he did with the low blow and everything else, those fans hated R-Truth and were booing John Cena out of the building. This is a guy that just a little over a month ago got cheered by 60,000 plus at WrestleMania, was getting booed out of the building at Saturday night's main event. Also, those boos carried over to last week for John Cena. guys, I got to tell you, a lot of that has to do with R-Truth because he's so loved. Look what you just did to the guy that we love in R-Truth.
Dave, we talked about this on last Monday. R-Truth coming out got equally as big a pop as John Cena did when John Cena came out as good John Cena. It was, in fact, it was crazy, the reaction. We both were shocked.
Yes.
By the reaction. You let that go?
And there's very few people that are going to be able to get that reaction. There's very few wrestlers on that roster that get there. Because we talk about in the world of the WWE, why are you over? Well, maybe it's because of the song that's playing when you're coming to the ring. Or this. R-Truth, it doesn't matter. He doesn't have to do the what's up. It doesn't matter what he's wearing. It doesn't matter if he's doing the little Jimmy gimmick. Or the fans love R-Truth so much. Whatever he's connected to is going to get over. That's how good R-Truth is. Without having a championship around his waist and without having a 5-star match. He is the perfect. Like I said it in my tweet yesterday, he's loved not so much for it's for pro wrestling, but for sports entertainment. Like everything that the WWE tries to define itself as, R-Truth could do it. You want a great match? R-Truth will give you a great match. You want a gimmick that's going to get over that seems impossible? R-Truth will be able to do it. You want a reaction? R-Truth will get a reaction. And if you want a heartfelt emotion like you needed at Saturday night's main event, R-Truth can do that too. How do you let that guy go?
I don't know.
If I'm a decision maker in WWE, without knowing how much Truth is making, I'm not allowing a guy like R-Truth out of my company, whether he was a goodwill ambassador for the company, give him his own talk show, give R-Truth his own podcast. There's so many different things. He's a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
Nothing R-Truth can't do. Could you imagine the R-Truth show? Like, you could do that with Truth. So many different things. So that's why it doesn't make sense that it happened on a Sunday. Like, who fires somebody on a Sunday?
Bully, I told my wife yesterday, I was like, that dude can do a show bringing prominent rappers on a podcast and talk about WWE and their love for wrestling and what made them, and it'd be entertaining as hell.
If I'm TNA, if I'm AEW, I'm chomping at the bit to get this guy.
My new commissioner.
Yes.
Bringing him right in.
Could you imagine the stuff between R-Truth and Santino Marella?
Bro. Don't even talk dirty like that. That
is comedy gold.
And here's Harvey the thing, guys.
And Tim Conway.
Harvey Korman and Tim Conway is the best analogy that probably no one's going to get, but unless you're over the age of 50.
No, you got to be over 50 to get that.
But I will say this. There's very few names, and we've talked about this. Can AEW sign so-and-so, and would that bring fans to view the product? Could TNA sign so-and-so and get fans to watch the product? I think R-Truth, with all it's been proven, the outcry for R-Truth. I think if AEW signed R-Truth, that would bring viewers to their show. If TNA signed R-Truth, that would bring viewers to their show. I really do believe that.
Dave, can't you see R-Truth on TNA, and he see Trick Williams, and he go, "Hey, I know you. Wait a minute. Are you here now?" Like, I mean, just all of that shit that he does.
Bully had the best. Bully, during break, you said what would be the best thing if he ever went to TNA.
If Truth went to TNA or AEW, he should still think he's in WWE.
Oh my God.
He should be
And they
getting
have
to the
to
place
keep
like
telling him every
like,
week.
hey, where's catering? Like, and everything. He's like, and he's the only one who does not realize he's in a different company.
Truth, you got to stop saying WWE. You work for AEW now. I do? Oh, man. My bad. Like, they didn't trademark my bad. That was him being him.
I got to tell you, I have my favorite.
Go see Mr. Khan. You got to go see Mr. Khan. And he thinks it's
You
Nick
mean
Khan.
from
And
Star Trek?
he walks into Tony's office and he's like, hey, Nick, you wanted to talk to me?
That would be amazing. That would
and
be
he's like,
amazing.
and Tony's like, I'm not Nick, I'm Tony. And he goes, oh, you like Nick's cousin or something like that? Where's
Like,
Jimmy
that
at?
would be phenomenal.
You see how we're laughing? We're spot booking shit that ain't never gonna happen, but it's so funny. It's so entertaining, and that's him. We talking about his stick. We talking about his work, and we laughing our ass off, and it ain't even happened. It's not gonna happen. It's just hypothetical. You let that guy go?
Oh, he calls John Moxley. He calls John Moxley Dean.
Yeah.
Hey, Dean.
Dean, where'd you get in, Dean?
Yeah. Cesaro, where's the Cesaro?
Yeah.
Like you had so much fun with that.
Bro, I would have so much fun with. I would sign him just for entertain myself.
Not for nothing. Mark, you just said it. What's the name of the company? World Wrestling Entertainment. And I don't know anybody as entertaining as Ron the Truth Killings.